Hi friends! I'm sorry I look terrible. See if anyone hops on. I know it's a weird time of day on a Friday to go live. But, how you guys doing? I'm in my bed. And mostly I'm in my bed just because I ended up with a huge migraine today, which, you know, I talk so much about how I don't get migraines so much anymore, but I got one today. And I think mostly it was just because of emotional processing, because that's how my body responds to that kind of a thing. It's been a really, really tough week for me, as I've mentioned. But it's been a really tough week for a lot of people. So, hey, Brody. Yeah. So I just mentioned this morning that I would go live, and now I'm starting to feel better. So I decided I'll just go live really quick. I do want to say that I am sincerely sorry for any words that have come out of my mouth without the Holy Spirit, and any that have come out of emotion. Not that emotion is bad, but just with any anger attached to it. I do really believe that godly anger is fine and human anger is not fine. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So yeah, I've definitely had some conversations with the Lord, and really I just wanted to apologize for any anger-laced words that you, especially if you felt like it was aimed at you. So I'm sorry for that. However, I will never apologize for standing up for what I believe in and what I believe to be true and what the Lord is really putting on my heart. And obviously I have a black son, and that makes a huge difference for me. In, not that I'm comparing, but it just makes this experience very different for me than a lot of my white friends. And I think what has been hurtful and harmful for me, and also for my black friends in many ways, is white silence. And I know a lot of people, they feel like they don't know what to say, and I get that. You don't have to say a lot, but you need to say something. And so I kind of get a small taste of what that feels like for our black friends. Because there are many, excuse me, there are many of our black friends who have been hurt by not hearing from their white friends, or their white friends not taking a stand on this, because it makes them feel unseen. And I will say that. Hi, honey. Yes. Real mom life. Come here, baby. He needs to ask me a question. Say hi.
Hi.
His teeth are trying to fall out. We really should get those suckers out this weekend. What's your question?
How much did that yoga lady cost
What?
at the store?
The what?
The guitar, the little one.
The ukulele?
Yeah.
$1.
$1?
Yeah, $1.
Is that 100?
Yes, 100 cents. Okay,
So,
go. I'm on a video.
Whenever I get 100, can I buy the lady?
Yes, baby, you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Want some turkey and cheese?
Yes.
He wants to know if he can buy a ukulele. Oh my gosh. Where was I? Yeah, his life matters. Let's just put it that way. It's kind of cute timing. Totally unscripted. So without honestly not wanting to offend anyone, but if it does, I'm sorry. But if you care about this at all, you need to say something so that your Black friends feel seen, they feel heard, they feel like you care about this huge shift that's happening in our country. This is a historical moment that we're living in, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of it. That is for sure. I've also found myself kind of caught in this place where white people can say things to me that they probably wouldn't say to Black people, or they'll ask me questions because they're trying to protect their Black friends, and I respect that and I will fully take that role on. But I do have a Black son, and my sister said something funny because I was being really honest with her about some things. And she's like, but remember, like, your son isn't actually Black. And she was joking, of course, but there can be this perception that, people forget that he's actually Black because he lives with us, but he is. He is, and I need to raise him with the same kind of understanding as any other Black boys out there. And that is hard. That's hard for me. So I'm trying to do my best and to advocate for him, to advocate for the Black community. I will say that I've had several people point out the Candace Owens video. And I get that. I do. Now, she's Black and she's giving her opinion on George Floyd. I absolutely refuse to give an opinion on George Floyd as a person. And here's why. Because when I say that as a white person, if I harped on that as a white person, it would be to intentionally detract from the seriousness of what is happening in our country right now. It would be to comfort my hurting white sensibilities. And again, I don't say that to hurt anybody, and I hope that if you're my friend and you have been talking about the Candace Owens video, or feeling like a breath of relief from the Candace Owens video, or feeling like now you can say what she's saying, I hope you'll hear me, if you're white, that talking about that is not okay. Like, talking about your opinion on that right now is not okay. Because the intention behind it, I just do not understand how the intention behind that could be anything but trying to appease white sensibilities. And that may come across as harsh to you, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm trying to cut through the noise, cut through the filter that so many of us wear our whole life, and just show you, like, what's happening right now is uncomfortable for you. And digging too deep into it can be very traumatizing. That's a good thing. And instead of looking for ways to make it less serious, or looking for ways to make it feel like there's some justification to wanting this to go away or calm down, that is because it is very much making your white sensibilities uncomfortable. Now, the other thing about Candace Owens, which I don't have to talk about this a lot, Well, first of all, yes, let's point out she's black, okay? Can you please stop using random black videos, black people videos, to prove a point that is to comfort your white sensibilities? First of all, I'm asking that honestly from a pure heart, I hope. But the other thing about her is, on it, like, to be very honest, like, I do not align with her politically very much at all. And that might surprise some of you, or it might not surprise some of you. I don't know. But it's her call. It's her community. It's her voice saying, like, making the choice to talk about that right now. I can't judge her for that. That's her choice. And I'm sure she's had to do a lot of soul searching and, like, whatever to get to the point where she's brave enough to share that. But let's be real right now. What's happening right now is not about George Floyd. If there are people who decide to make George Floyd their hero, that is their choice. Like, they're free to decide that. But that is not what this is about right now. What this is about right now is an awakening in America that systemically the Black community has experienced prejudice, has experienced persecution, and has experienced inequality and violence and hatred in ways that are completely and utterly evil and unacceptable, and that needs to change. So we shouldn't be focusing on these little nitty-gritty things like, was George Floyd a good person or not a good person? It doesn't matter. The way that he was killed was completely evil. So let's just get that clear in our minds. I don't care if he was good or not good. Are any of us truly good, first of all? Secondly, it's not about George Floyd. That was just the trigger that made the dominoes finally fall. And if you really must talk about George Floyd and his flaws, which hopefully, who's going to cast the first stone? That's all I'm saying. But if you must, think about maybe why violence and drug use and poverty are so endemic in Black communities. Why is that? Why is it that in so many ways he was set up to fail? That's really what this is about. This is about the fact that for decades and hundreds of years, the cards have been intentionally stacked against the Black community and not in their favor. And there are places that are, yes, majority Black and people of color that are known for violence, they are known for drugs, but why is that? What bred that? What started that? And I encourage you to really dig into that. And places like where George Floyd grew up are places where it's hard to live a long, good life. So, think about that. And another thing that I just wanted to say as gently as possible for my son's sake is, my son has experienced trauma unrelated to his skin color, although his skin color does play into it, of course, but the trauma that any child who has been adopted has experienced. And because of that, I'll focus this back on me, But because of that, our family and I have had to do a lot of work about what trauma does to a person's brain, how it secondarily affects other people, what causes it, and what causes it to heal. Because it is a physiological change in the brain that happens when you are traumatized in early childhood or traumatized at all. And that has got me thinking so much about how the Black community as a whole has been collectively traumatized over and over and over again. And that does something collectively that is very, very deep, and it is painful, and it is our job to change things so that they have the opportunity to heal. Because when you keep ripping off the Band-Aid over and over and over again, it can't heal. You can't be fully free from the pain of it. And we're the ones, us, who look like this. The reason why we can't stay silent is because we are the ones that are going to have to decide to take on the discomfort of change that's going to start at the root, to shift what happens in society so that a Black person and a white person are viewed equally and given the same opportunities, the same access to education, the same access to jobs, the same access to medicine, and all of those things that they do not have the same access to. Not to mention the same freedom to walk through their neighborhood or go for a jog or drive a car at night or get a smile from someone at the grocery store. All of those things. So stop looking at the symptoms and start looking at the illness inside of you and in America as a whole. And I've had several people tell me, like, I'm not a racist. I don't know that there's anything else that I can do except that I'm not a racist. Trust me, there's work that you can do, and if it's something that you're willing to dig into, you will probably find that there are things inside of you that do need to change. I know that I have. I haven't been doing this work for the last 2 weeks, guys. I've been doing it for years. And I have had to remap my brain in so many ways. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it, because you start to see all people as people who are valuable in the same way that you are. You start to be more humble. You get rid of condescension that you didn't even know was there, but it is. And you start to be in the place of a student sitting at the feet of the experience of these people who are incredibly strong and vibrant and joyful and artistic and brilliant and have a perspective that I don't have on so many things, and lovely and kind and caring and wonderful and amazing moms and amazing dads, amazing friends, without any kind of tinge of, like, I hate to say it, but like, oh yay, I have a Black friend, or I'm sure they're so glad that they have me, or it was so nice of me to pay that Black kid to mow my lawn. I'm such a good person. Yeah. I went there. So anyway, as far as what I said the other day about masks and all of that, you have a right to your opinion about the masks, about COVID, about all of those things. You have a right to that. My issue has been from the beginning, the visceral animosity and the incredible attachment to personal liberty and the Constitution that is the way that it has been portrayed and talked about. There has been a lot of ungodly behavior. So that hurts my heart. And there has been a lot of overlooking of the fact that minority communities have been hit the hardest by COVID as well. So that you have to understand that from the beginning of COVID, things have been triggering for the Black community because they're dying more. And it's not because they're making worse choices. It's because they don't have the same access to safety as we do, to health as we do, to resources as we do. That's why there was already an awakening that something is systemically wrong because they are dying in much higher numbers than white people are dying because of COVID. So that's been hurting me, and you know, all the Karen videos going around Twitter and whatnot, but really there's just like this, I have these God-given rights to assemble and to go out in public without a mask. I'm not gonna harp on that too much, but just think about what the motives are and think about where you're putting your hope. What is your hope in? Is your hope in America? Is your hope in the Constitution? Is your hope in freedom of movement? Is your hope in being allowed to move around as you please? Where is your hope? Because nothing is eternal and nothing is infallible except for God and the Word of God and the kingdom of God. And at the end of the day, that's where our anchor needs to be. I lived in China for a while, you guys, okay? China, even right now, China is actually cracking down big time on believers. When I lived in China, you know, I knew believers, and they do not have freedom to move around as they please. They don't have true freedom. And sure, that's codified in Chinese government. Okay. But the Chinese believers are not only vibrant and strong and kind and incredible, but they are also giving and caring and uncomplaining, and we as Americans have been coddled so much with our liberties that we forget what it means to stand up for the broken, the destitute, the lost, the hurting, the refugees, the minorities. And I'm not saying this about all Christians in America, of course. All white Christians. But just think about how comfortable we've become. And instead of maybe focusing on these little things, I mean, no empire lasts forever, first of all. Maybe focus on what really, really matters. And again, you can be educated about the masks, about health, about all of these things, that's totally fine. I just am asking you to be careful with your tone. And if you are speaking up about those things and are staying silent about the fact that a large portion of our society has been systemically persecuted and prejudiced against, then you need to reevaluate your priorities. Because what will go down in history from this season isn't the fact that we had to wear masks in public. What will go down in history from this season is this was a time of awakening for racial justice in our country, a time where some believers decided to become humble and stand for the rights of the poor, to stand for the rights of the oppressed, to stand on the side of justice, and some believers remained silent unless their own personal rights were infringed upon in honestly moderately insignificant ways. And some of you are going to disagree with me on that, but okay, that's all I'm going to say. Please, white person, consider your words before trying to think about why you should become more comfortable with your biases. And maybe if you feel that you have a bias and you're questioning, like, but this is my experience with Black people, maybe consider why that's so important for you to think about right now. So anyway, Black friends, white friends, I love you all. At the end of the day, I will stand up for the oppressed. I will stand up for the poor. I will stand up for freedom. I will stand up because that is what Jesus has called me to. And like I said last time, he's called me, and he himself proclaimed that he was to be a voice for the oppressed, setting captives free, bringing light to prisoners, and declaring the year of the Lord's favor, which again, as I said last time, was what? Yeah, as I said last time, was it is a reference to the year of Jubilee. And the year of Jubilee is when the slaves were set free. So here's to the year of Jubilee.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah, but this hat's flown away.
Yeah, that's Uncle Albin giving you lots of love. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Uncle Albin. I don't know if you saw Emmanuel's teeth about to fall out, but it's pretty funny every day we get to see these silly teeth.
So many Uncle Albin love.
So many Uncle Albin love. Or it might, is it? Yeah, it's Uncle Albin.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
So much.
All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I've talked long enough. I said it was going to be like 5 minutes, and it was like, I don't know, like 87,000 minutes.
No.
No. Not really. Okay, say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Merry everything.
Merry everything.
Uncle Albin says hi.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, Uncle Albin.
Oh.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.